So we're going to start with a magic ring. I'm using the double magic ring technique this time. And into the ring we're going to make a starting double crochet plus 11 more. So for starting double crochet, you may have your own method that you prefer to use for that. Or if you wish, you can start with a chain 3 instead of a starting double crochet. And we'll make 11 more double crochet into the ring. 2, 3, 4. So we will close up the magic ring. We'll join to our starting stitch with a slip stitch to finish round 1. You should have 12 double crochet. Round 2, we're going to start with a starting stitch again or a chain 3. So a starting double crochet in that same stitch where we joined last round. And then we want to work a front post extended double crochet around that same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook from the front, around the back, out to the front, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2 for our extended front post double crochet. So we'll work that around, double crochet in the next stitch, front post extended double around that same stitch. So you can go ahead and work that all the way around, joining to our top of our starting stitch to finish round 2. Round 2 will have 24 stitches, 12 double crochets, plus the 12 front post extended double crochet. Round 3, starting double crochet in that same stitch or chain 3 to start this round. And then into the next stitch, which is that front post extended double, we will work a double crochet, and then we'll work a front post extended around that front post extended. And we'll repeat that around. Double crochet into the double crochet into the front post stitch, and then working the front post extended double around that front post stitch. Okay, so you can go ahead and work this sequence all the way around. Again, joining to the top of our starting stitch to end this round. Round 3 has 36 stitches. Round 4, we want to slip stitch into this gap or this space between the 2 double crochets from last round. So slip stitch into that gap, and we'll make a puff stitch in the gap. So we yarn over, insert into that same space, pull up a loop, and we'll do that 2 more times. You should have a total of 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 7, chain 1 to close. We'll make a double crochet in that next stitch, which should be the double crochet, chain 1, and then we'll skip the next stitch, which is the front post extended double, and double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat that around, puff stitch in the gap between those 2 double crochet of round 3, double crochet in the double. Sometimes you'll need to move that puff out of the way to find the top of that double crochet to work into. Chain 1, skip the front post stitch, double crochet in the next double crochet. So you can go ahead and repeat that around, and I will meet you just before the end of this round. And when you've worked your last puff stitch, you'll have that double crochet just after it, and then chain 1. We'll skip that last front post extended. We want to make sure we place a double crochet into that next stitch, and then we'll join to the chain 1 of the puff stitch that we started this round with. So as you can see, I'm using color changing yarn, and mine has changed in the middle of the round. You may decide to use solid color. If so, on this next round, you will want to change your color. Round 5. We're going to start with a starting puff stitch, or a starting front post extended double around the puff stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook from the front around the back of that puff out to the front, pull that yarn through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 twice for an extended front post extended double crochet. Then we want to double crochet into this next stitch, and we'll place a double crochet in that chain 1 space. Then we're going to work a front post treble around the front post extended double 2 rounds below. So yarn over twice, insert your hook from the front around the back of that front post stitch, and pull the yarn through. Yarn over, pull through 2, 3 times for that front post treble. If you find the treble is pulling, you may change that for an extended treble or a double treble if you prefer. Double crochet back in that same chain 1 space, and double crochet in the next stitch. So we'll repeat that around a front post extended double around the puff stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet into the space, front post treble around the front post extended double 2 rounds below, double crochet in the same space, and double crochet in that next stitch. So you can repeat that around, and I will join you just before the end of this round. So as you've worked your way around, your last repeat will end in that last stitch of the round, and then we can join to our starting front post extended double crochet to finish this round. 72 stitches for round 5. Round 6, we will slip stitch into the next stitch and work a starting double crochet or chain 3 if you prefer. Double crochet into the next stitch, and a front post extended double crochet around the next stitch, which should be that front post treble from last round. And double crochet in the next 2, being careful to get the one past the post stitch. It sometimes is slightly hidden. We'll chain 1, we'll skip a stitch, double crochet in the next 2, front post extended double crochet around that front post treble, double crochet in the next 2, and again watching for that stitch right after the front post stitch. And we'll repeat that around. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet in 2, front post extended double, double crochet in 2, so on, and I'll meet you just before the end of the round. As you finish up the round, after your last 2 double crochet of the last repeat, we will chain 1, and skipping that front post stitch there, we will slip stitch to the top of our starting stitch to end this round. 60 stitches and 12 chain 1 spaces. Then for round 7, we'll work a starting double crochet or a chain 3, whichever you prefer. And double crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll make a puff in the next stitch, which should be in that front post stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times for our puff stitch, and closing with a chain 1. And then this is where our repeat starts. We will double crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, double crochet into that chain space, front post treble around that front post extended double 2 rounds below. And again, if you find the treble is pulling, you can make an extended treble or double treble if you prefer. Then we'll double crochet back in that same chain 1 space. We'll double crochet in the next 2 stitches and puff stitch in the next, which should be that front post stitch. So we'll work that repeat around, double crochet in the next 2 stitches and in the chain 1 space, front post treble around the front post stitch 2 rounds below, double crochet back in that chain 1 space, and double crochet in each of those next 2 stitches and puff stitch in the next. Okay, so you can go ahead and work that all the way around, and I'll meet you just before the end of the round. At the end of the round, we need to work into these next 2 double crochets. Double crochet into that chain space and work the front post treble around the next one. And double crochet back in that same chain space. And ready to slip stitch to the top of our starting stitch to complete this round. 96 stitches. Round 8, we want to slip stitch into the next stitch and chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and we'll place a single crochet in that same stitch. We'll work a front post single crochet around the puff stitch. So insert from the front, around the back, out to the front, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for front post single crochet around that puff stitch. Single crochet in the next stitch. And we'll skip these next 2 double crochet, and into the post stitch we want to work 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochet into the top of that front post treble. Skip 2 stitches, and this is the start of our repeat then with a single crochet, front post single crochet, single crochet in the next stitch, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochet in the next stitch. We'll repeat that around, skipping 2 stitches on either side of that set of 5 double crochet, working a single crochet, a front post single, and a single crochet, skipping the 2 stitches and the 5 double crochet group. So you can go ahead and work that all the way around, and I will meet you just before the end of this round again. So at the end of the round, we will just skip those last 2 stitches and join with a slip stitch to our starting single crochet. "96 stitches. Round 9, we will slip stitch into the next stitch. Chain 1, which doesn't count as a stitch, and single crochet into that same stitch for our starting stitch. We're going to skip this next single crochet, and then we'll work back post double crochet around each of the next 2 stitches. So that's the first 2 double crochet of the group of 5. So back post double around the first 2. And in the next stitch, we will work 3 back post double. So yarn over, insert from the back. So around the same stitch, you're just going to work over top of the double crochet that you made. Pick up the yarn and finish the double. And we'll do 1 more back post double around that same stitch. And then back post double around each of the next 2. We'll skip this next stitch, single crochet into the next one, and repeat. Skip that next single crochet, back post double around 2, three back post double around the next, and back post double around the next 2. And then you'll skip that next stitch and start again with a single crochet in the next. So you can go ahead and work that all the way around, and I'll meet you just before the end of the round again. On the last repeat, we will just skip those last 2 stitches and join to our starting single crochet to end this round. "96 stitches. Round 10, our final round for this motif, we will chain 1 and make a front post single around the same single crochet. We'll back post double crochet around the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, 2 back post double around the next stitch, and one back post double around the next, which should be the middle of our back post doubles from last round. So that middle stitch of the 3 around 1, we do a single back post double, and then 2 back post double around that next stitch, which is the 3rd of that set of 3, and back post double around the remaining 2 back post doubles. And we'll repeat that around. So the front or the back post, sorry, the front post single around the single crochet, and then back post double around the next 2, two back post double around the next stitch, back post double around the next, 2 back post double around the next, and back post double around the last 2. So I'll let you work that all the way around, and again I'll join you just at the end of this round. So as you've worked your way around your last set of all those back post double crochet, we will join to the top of our starting front post single crochet, and we can fasten off. Round 10 has 120 stitches. So if you are making a bunch of motifs and want to join them together, it is possible to join as you go. So I have worked my second motif here, and I'm on the final round of round 10. So what we will do, we want to join 2 of these petals to 2 of the petals of the other motif. If you had more than 2 and there was another flower beside, you would want another 2 joined to 2. So in between your 2 joins, you would skip 1 petal, if that makes sense. And depending on how large a project you're making, you will be joining on all around this petal or this motif. So you would join 2 petals, skip 1, join 2 petals, skip 1, and so on. So there are many methods to work a join as you go. I'll show you one of those right now. So I'm working round 10. I've done my first 2 back post double crochet. The next stitch we're going to work 2 back post double. So I'll work the first one, and it's on the second one that we will join to the other motif. So I've done my pull through 2, leaving those 2 loops on the hook. So we want to find the second of 2 motifs or of 2 back post double crochet. So there's the 2 by themselves, the first in that stitch and the second one. So I'm leaving these 2 loops on my hook. So I want my yarn to be outside. I will insert through the top of that stitch, pull that yarn through and through the 2 loops on my hook to connect those. Then I'll come back down to this other motif, start the next back post double, and join to that next stitch, and then around the next stitch we'll make 2 back posts, but it's on the first back post that will join to the other motif, and then work our second back post double around that stitch, and then finish those last 2 back post doubles on that petal. So we will have joined on 3 stitches that we joined together. So the middle 3 of those back post doubles of the petal join to the middle 3 of the other petal. We finish the back post double, we'll do that front post single, and we'll work 3 back post double on this next petal. 1, oops, I'm gonna change colors here too. Two and three, and then we'll start the second one around the same stitch, pull through two, and then again on this next one we want to find that matching stitch. So the first back post double and one more on the fourth one over, join together, come back, start the next back post double, join to the next stitch on the other motif, and come back to this one, and one more join to the other motif, finish the second back post around that same stitch, and two more back post double on our working motif. And we have joined our two motifs together as we're working along. Okay, and then you would just finish the motif. Because this is only my second one, I don't have to join it anymore, but always watching if you're joining to more than one motif, where you would skip the one petal and then on these next two petals you would join again. Okay. So I want you to imagine, if you will, that there are four motifs all joined together that sort of form a square, and there'll be this intersection here. So now we're going to work on the motif that we can make to fill in this middle part between these motifs. So it starts the first two rounds of our larger motif. So you'll make your magic ring, chain 3 or make a starting double crochet, and then work 11 more double crochet into the ring, and then you can join to the starting double crochet at the end of that for 12 double crochet. Then for round 2 of the inner motif, you'll make a starting double crochet or the chain 3, whichever you're comfortable with. And then you'll work a front post extended double around that same stitch from round 1. And we'll work that around. We'll double crochet in the next stitch, front post extended double around that stitch. So you can go ahead and work that around for round 2. You'll have 24 stitches, 12 double crochet and 12 front post extended double. Round 3, we will slip stitch into this next stitch and work a starting puff stitch. 1, 2, and 3, and close it with the chain. We'll chain 1 and make another puff stitch into that same stitch. And then in the next stitch we'll make a half double crochet, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and a half double crochet in that next stitch. And then we'll work a puff stitch into the next stitch, chain 1, another puff stitch, chain 1, and one more puff stitch in that stitch. So we have 3 puff stitches closed with the chain, which doesn't count as a stitch, plus a chain 1 in between those puff stitches. And then work a half double crochet in the next and single crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and half double in the next. And then you're ready to work a corner again with these 3 puff stitches with the chain 1 in between, and repeat that around, and I'll join you just before we end. All the way around, so we've got these 4 corners here. After our last side there and that half double crochet, we want to put one more puff stitch in the same stitch as our starting puff. Close with the chain, chain 1, and then we'll join to the top of that closing chain of our starting puff stitch. 32 stitches and 8 chain 1 spaces. Then for round 4, you can start with a starting treble crochet or a chain 4. And then we'll work a front post treble around the same puff stitch. So yarn over twice, insert from the front around the back out to the front of the puff, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 times for that front post treble. Then we'll work 2 treble in this chain 1 space. 1 and 2 treble crochet. And we'll work a front post extended double around this next puff stitch. In the next stitch, so be careful, it can be slightly hidden on that half double from last round. We'll place a half double and a single crochet in that stitch. 2 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next, 2 single crochet in that next stitch, and then in the last stitch, the half double crochet, will place a single crochet and a half double crochet. So after the corner, that front post extended double, we had a half and a single crochet in one stitch, 2 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet in the next, a single and a half in that next stitch. We'll work front post extend double around this puff stitch, and 2 treble into that chain 1 space. And then we're ready to start with that front post treble around the center puff of the corner. So after that front post treble around the puff, we want to work a treble into the puff. So you might have to wiggle that front post out of the way to find the top of the puff stitch to work a treble crochet into. And then we will work another front post treble around that same puff stitch. Oops, try that again. And then continue with the 2 treble in that next chain 1 space, and a front post extended double around that last puff of the corner. Okay, so around these corner stitches, we had the front post extended double around the first puff, 2 treble in the chain 1. Then around the center puff, front post treble, treble in the top of the puff, front post treble, 2 treble in the chain 1 space, and a front post extended double around that last puff. And then ready to work the side stitches, starting with that half and the single crochet in the next stitch, and so on. So you can continue to work that around, and I'll meet you just before we end this round. As we're finishing up our final side, I've done my front post extended double. I need to work the 2 treble in that chain space. And then we need to work 1 more front post treble around that next puff where we already have our starting stitches. And then we would join to the top of our starting treble to finish off this motif. So now if we come back to our larger motifs, we can see how this motif will connect to these. You can see how those petals sort of go in that rounded section there. And what we will do, once you have your other motifs here, from the back side you will just work slip stitches around to join them to the motifs from the wrong side or the back side. And that fills in that space very nicely between our motifs. So now if you wish to sort of make your piece more of a rectangle or a square, we're going to make a motif that would fill in this side section here. So this is the third and last motif that we are learning today. So you will start in the same way as we started our other motifs with that magic ring and the 12 double crochet into that magic ring. So if you wish, you can go ahead and work that right now with those 12 double crochet, closing up the ring and joining to our starting stitch. So 12 double crochet in the ring to start the side motif. Then for round 2 we will do a starting double crochet in that same stitch where we joined, and work a front post extended double around that same stitch. So just the same as we worked round 2 for our other motifs. Double crochet in the next stitch, front post extended double around that same stitch. So you can go ahead and work that all the way around, joining to our starting stitch to end this round. So you should have 24 stitches on this round 2. Round 3 we will slip stitch into that next stitch and work a puff stitch in that stitch. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1 to close, and then we'll work a chain 1 and another puff stitch in that same stitch. We'll half double crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 3. Oops. 1, 2, and 3. Half double crochet in that next stitch. So place a puff stitch in the next, 2 and 3, chain 1, another puff stitch in that same stitch, chain 1 and 1 more puff stitch in that same stitch. And then we'll work a half in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we'll work another corner of those 3 puff stitches with the chain 1 in between. So remember, we close with the chain and then we make our chain 1 before the next puff stitch. And a third puff, So we'll make a half in the next stitch, single crochet in the next two, two single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in three, two single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next two, half double crochet in the next, and then we need to work one more puff stitch where we have the starting puff stitch, and chain one, and then we'll join to the top of that puff stitch to complete that round. So this side motive is more of a triangle, so you can see how we're starting to flatten out or straighten out that side edge there. Then round 4, our final round for this side motive, we will start with a treble crochet or chain 4, whichever you are most comfortable with there. And we'll work a front post treble around that center puff stitch. Oops, I need to yarn over twice. We'll work that front post treble. Two treble into that chain 1 space. Front post extended double around that next puff. We'll work a half double crochet and a single crochet into this next stitch, single crochet in the next two single crochet in the next stitch, then single crochet in the next, two single crochet in the next stitch, and then in that last half double crochet we'll make a single crochet and a half double. We'll work a front post extended double around this first puff stitch, two trebles in the chain 1 space. Then around the next puff stitch we'll work a front post treble, and into the top of the puff stitch, which is a little bit tricky to find the top, we will place a treble crochet and another front post treble around that puff stitch. And two treble in that chain 1 space. And the front post extended double around that last puff of the corner. Then we're ready to work those side stitches with the half double and the single in the next stitch, and so on. You can work around these corner 3 puffs in this next corner, and then I will join you after that. So after that corner, we'll work a half in that next stitch, two single crochet into the next, single crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, two single crochet in the next, single crochet in the next stitch, two single crochet in the next, single crochet in the next 3, 2 single crochet in the next, and then half double crochet, which should be the half double crochet from last round. We'll work a front post extended double around this first puff, and then 2 trebles in that chain 1 space. So that's 1 treble and 2 treble. We're almost finished. We just need to work 1 more front post treble around this puff stitch where we already have worked a front post treble. And then we can join to the top of our starting treble and fasten off. So in the side motive, we'd go in between those motives on the edge, and again you would join from the wrong side with slip stitches to the motives. So that is the 3 different motives we have that we can join together to create whatever project we wish. Have fun with this and good luck!